How's it going, folks? This is Aviel Leos from the Children's Court coming to you live from Mission Control Studios. And I wanted to do an updated video about the R.Kelly, surviving R.Kelly saga because there's new information. At least one of these women have been exposed as a liar already. I mean, the show is still hot and we're exposing people. That's one thing. And for two, R. Kelly's fighting back. He's building a website, and apparently there's going to be a lot more exposing happening in the near future. So we have this one lady named Ashanti. I don't know what her last name is, but her name is Ashanti. She's one of the main faces of the series that's alleging R. Kelly was like some mafia don or something with centuries walking around a house, stopping them from leaving. She couldn't wear fishnet shirts, all kind of crazy stuff. She had to get permission to eat and bathe, just a bunch of ridiculousness. So she is actually seen on video being fed lines from one of the men who's claiming that their daughter is inside a sex cult at R. Kelly's house on his property or whatever, and his daughter already came out and said, listen, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm here because I want to be here. She's an adult. She has the right to be there. If she's saying she wants to be there, and they're saying he's kidnapped her or holding her against her will, I mean, case closed. But this is the man that's feeding Ashanti her lies. So if you look at, and I forget the lady's name, but I seen it in her video. I need to either tag her or something. I'll put something inside the video to give her credit. But she actually analyzed the video and found out that she was reciting lines he was feeding her. If you look at his lips, he's saying the things. He's giving the answers to the questions that the reporters are asking, and he's feeding them to her through maybe an earpiece or something, and she's repeating exactly what he's saying. So that's one thing, but that's not even it. That's not even the worst. The worst is that her daughter is recorded on a phone with a man, allegedly Ashanti's ex-boyfriend, exposing her mother, saying her mother was coming home with thousands of dollars, designer bags, living a rich life, and on top of that, she was neglecting her children. She was leaving her children at home alone for days at a time, calling every couple of days to check up on them. So she was actually a rotten mother, and she's trying to tarnish R. Kelly's name, and people still aren't catching on to that. Even the woman in the video, I left a less than nice comment on her channel, because even the woman in the video said, "I believe the rest," but this one is lying without, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let him make his case. If you already see and you already confirmed yourself that one of them is lying, then what would make you make that statement? And I know what made her make that statement. It's the fear of the mob. The mob's turning on her if she doesn't believe R. Kelly is raping and torturing these women in sex cults. So she made a disclaimer: I believe the rest, but I have proof that this one's lying. So I just don't agree with that, obviously. I've had my own experience with a woman saying I did something that I didn't do, and her being believed by everybody but the judge. So in my case, I was a little bit lucky because my son's mother pressed charges against me for beating her up twice and telling her I'd kill her if she went to the police. And just off of face value, I'm almost sure that most of you can see what kind of character I have. But she asked me if I loved my girlfriend because we were broken up, and I was at her house visiting my son. She asked me if I loved my new girlfriend. I said yes, and she started wailing on me. I walked out the door. Apparently, You know, neighbors saw it, called the police, and when the police came, she filed assault and battery charges on me while I was at her mother's house, and her mother was calling her to tell her she can't be hitting grown men and, you know, assaulting people. She told her mother, yeah, I did it, I don't care. And she told her mother she had to tell them that I beat her up or they would have took her kid. You know what I'm saying? Her kids, one of them being my child. So, I was facing 25 years in jail for nothing. For absolutely nothing, for a story that a girl made up because she was emotionally upset. And everybody from her, you know, I was a part of her family. I was literally a piece of her family at some point, and everybody in her family just believed her. You know what I'm saying? Believed what she was saying, and she did this previously to a guy that she was dating before me, and I believed her. I didn't even give the guy a benefit of the doubt when he was saying he didn't do anything. I was in the courthouse ready to fight this dude. Like, he better not look at her wrong. She's, you know, the tears and all of that, telling me the stories. And I'm like, damn, she did this to everybody. But everybody believed her. But when we went to court, the judge was like, well, she's saying he brutally beat her up. Where's the hospital report? Where's the injuries? There's no documentation of any of this happening. And there's no witness. So, I think when she found out how much time I was facing, even she got scared and dropped the charges. But it was too late. The DA wanted to move ahead with the charges, and it was out of her hands. So she almost flipped my life totally upside down with a lie. And she didn't have to take any accountability for any of it, which is insane for me. But the judge, he wasn't having it. He told us to take a recess, and he told the DA and my lawyer to find a way to get rid of the situation. Those words, he didn't believe her, clear as day, and he was angry at the DA for trying to pursue the case when I had no prior record, and there was not a shred of evidence that I did anything to harm her. So what happened is they made me pay for my freedom, and that's something that the government's going to do. They're going to get paid off you. They said, here, pay $800. I forget what the agreement's called, a clause or something like that. I'm not inclined in, you know, the dealings of prison and in court systems like that. But they made me pay $800 to have the charges and everything wiped off of my record. And so I had to pay $800. I had to go to court, face 25 years in prison, and pay $800 for my freedom because I told my ex-girlfriend that I loved my new girlfriend. A question she asked, and I know I'm crazy for actually saying yes. I know a lot of y'all are probably like, why the fuck would you say yes? But, you know, I'm a real person. I'm bad at lying, and I'd rather just tell the truth. So my experience with women lying and situations being totally different from what they seem is going to always tell me that I'm not going to convict R.Kelly or any man or woman or person, just in general. I'm not going to convict him specifically over any of these allegations from 30 years ago or today. I'm not going to convict him off of hearsay and stuff that's not concrete, because if any of these predatory charges were concrete, I believe he'd be in jail. He's not some powerful person that got reach into the government or something that's going to stop him from going to jail for pedophilia, in my personal opinion. All of these women, these new women that are coming to light for the bag, definitely falling on deaf ears to me. Because like I said, Charlemagne, the god, for the sake of the video, his victim didn't wait 10 years or whatever the case be till the bag came to want to throw his name under the bus. His victim was a real victim that went through the court process and tried to get justice for itself when it happened. So to me, we've already got one exposed, and R. Kelly says there's more to come. We'll see, but I'm not going to convict him. The rest of you can convict him. The rest of you can hate me and hate everybody that supports him. I don't give a fuck. And you know, I do care what people think. At the end of the day, I think most people do, but people want to act tough and stuff. I care what people think, but I'm a logical and rational person, so I'm not gonna be emotionally moved at the same time. So, as far as I'm concerned, R. Kelly went to court. He took it to trial. He beat 14 charges. To me, there was something that didn't add up to those people who had to decide his fate, and they let him go. Again, he's not some, politician, white crime lord. He wasn't even anybody special in music. He wasn't like some super top executive at Sony BMG or something like that. He was an R&B singer. He doesn't have the reach that people are trying to make it seem like he's got to get off these charges. So, and he doesn't even own his publishing. You know what I'm saying? So he's not. People acting like he's just this filthy rich billionaire who's got, fucking security forces and helicopters flying. No, he was acquitted on 14 different charges. Think about that for a minute. So I don't want to ramble on too long, but as far as I'm concerned, R. Kelly's being framed because he didn't comply with certain people that gave him directions. And we've seen this before. We've seen this with Michael. Some people still believe Michael was having sex with little kids at his ranch, which is ridiculous. And, I don't know if I'm going to be making a video about that, but with this case, this is nice and fresh, and a bunch of, in my opinion, fraudulent bag chasers are trying to destroy this man via people with a vendetta against him. Not any of the people accusing him. These are crumbs on the plate. I'm talking about the bigger wigs that wanted more control over R. Kelly, and R. Kelly just wasn't having it. Dealing with the money, whatever was happening, they wanted to control all of that. He got hip and wanted to take more power of his own life, and they said, oh, you think you could do this without us? We'll destroy you. And they haven't stopped yet. So that's all that I'm going to say about this for now. If anything new comes up, I'll definitely stay on top of this story, because to me this is important, because I've been through this, and I know a million men have been through situations where this is, of course, extreme, but I know there have been millions of men who've been accused and prosecuted and judged over lies, over made-up stories, and I'm one of them. So there's nobody that's going to change my mind based off of trying to force me to believe something, or I'm a bad person. Alright, so this is Aviel Leos from the Children's Court, and I'll talk to you guys later.